Hello, I'm Lorelei Pepi, a 2015 Moving Image grantee, and I'm an animation artist living and working out of Vancouver, British Columbia. Docile Bodies is a project in development, and it's the first of a series of interactive animation installations. This marks a brand new path for my practice, and that has been animation filmmaking. This is a mock-up of an installation that uses real-world space and the visitor's real body to engage with the virtual world that arises from video gaming and the intense economy of bodies that exists throughout it. Video game culture has a pretty complex set of issues of representation: gender, sexuality, power, and control. Contemporary skills and tools have made it so the virtual body is just enough to be able to slip us into that virtual uncanny zone. And this project arose when I found myself having a very real, terrified, and fearful response for the safety and well-being of 3D avatars of young girls that were being sold online as desire, as body, and as parts. What I want to explore with this project is if it's possible to have these world spaces combine, where it's the real world visitor's body and desire that can reach across the virtual border, but it's a desire of wanting to help. As a visitor progresses through the installation, they'll discover that this narrative environment of characters, bodies, and parts responds to them. Using sustained body proximity and gaze, the visitor can receive interactive responses. As a queer storyteller, origin myths are deeply resonant for me because they describe potent coming of age and coming into being transformations. So this first installment of Docile Bodies is going to uptake the tale of Red Riding Hood, a story that's about the onset of female sexuality, sexual predation, gender, and power. The warrior hunter is the hero that slays the predator wolf who captured Red Riding Hood. Red's only activity was to learn that male sexual predators would always be there ready to consume her. I want the visitor's own body to be the tool of interaction and for technology to be made as subtle as possible with this so the engagement feels intuitive, present, and real. A Kinect sensor is a device placed near the projection surface and can track body proximity and basic facial positioning of a visitor. A gaming engine contains a branching narrative, and depending on the visitor's activity, it will provide corresponding animation responses. This character is my Red Riding Hood, and she is one of the models that caused this experience to rise for me, and I bought her online. These poses are how she is advertised for purchase and for use. Her creation is intended solely for pedophilic sexual voyeurism and passive stillness. She was given a name, and it's Saki, but characters also reflect a collective perceived value, and she was devalued at only $10. I also used this pose called a bind pose, which is only seen and used in animation production. And it's done in order to establish a neutralized 0-0 state of the body's being. I'm going to show you a simulation of the primary interactive animation. The media seen in the back windows and heard in the soundtrack are all coming from online videos of gamers playing games while discussing their interests in masturbation, avatar sex versus real human whore sex, and a game whose goal it is to beat up a girl in a bathtub. Saki wants you to look only at her face, not her body, and especially not her nude body. The wolf does not want her to be anything more than an inactive pose. This rough mock-up demo will compare two variations side by side on the same screen. The left side of the screen includes a red circle that simulates a viewer's gaze as it's moving in the frame. The right side of the screen demo will show you the animation without it as a viewer would be seeing it live. So this prototype isn't completely showing the anticipated ending. I want the character to be self-possessed, and so being allowed to escape this environment, she can thank the viewer and run away and escape from this environment of her own accord. In 3D video game production, a story of origins exists at a base level of skins and body parts, which are tangible assets to be manipulated and assigned value, and they have a practical function. But even to me, as an animator, this is like coming across a virtual hunter's lair after their post-kill activities. The intentionally unfinished model allows a viewer's projection into an empty vessel, and it's like a creation of the completion of self. This unfinished model loops in an intentionally de-skinning of a warrior's gender morphology. I want to also be able to explore the potentials of a viewer's own body gestures to be able to become the actual animating force in a puppeteering, avateering-like scenario. Michel Foucault's writing, Discipline and Punish, Docile Bodies, describes a prisoner system, neutralized, restrained and contained, the controlling gaze with dividing lines of power. The virtual Cartesian space of X, Y, and Z is used in 3D animation and defines the dividing line of the magic circle of reality, of virtual reality, of real and fantasy. Advance to the next, please. This project explores the use of real and virtual space and bodies for the potential transformation of a passive bystander and a pacified virtual being that needs to be seen as more than the sum of 0, 0. So for this project, it's entering into the next round of development tests for technology. The projected goal for exhibition readiness for this first iteration is for the fall of 2017. And what I consider to be the needs of this project, I would love to have creative conversations about the potentials of convergent media and public engagement, about how to make this a larger expression of a social response. Summer residencies that support interactive technologies and art, consultancy on the production of digital interactive installation artworks, and most definitely exhibition venues that are willing to be bold and to take a risk with my work. And I'd like to say so thank you very, very much, Ruby, and to Creative Capital, and to all of you. I am eternally grateful.